Hi everyone. I'm just doing some legs up the wall in my Airbnb rental. Lily's right here. I wonder if she'll come on screen. Hi Lily. Come here. She's too good. Come here. If I had a treat. Whatever, she might. Hi everybody. Hi Aurora Ribbon. Hi Mitch. Hi Polly Sold. We are at a full moon. So technically the full moon is tomorrow, which is the 28th of January. But when the full moon's during the day, I personally like to do my workings with it the night before, or any moon, because I like to do going up to it rather than after. So tonight's the night to do your full moon manifestation stuff. So I just wanted to get on here and chat with you guys because A, I'm doing legs up the wall, and that's what I do when I do legs up the wall. And B, wanted to give y'all a little bit of instruction, of guidance for how to do moon rituals. Ooh, Aurora, you're working with the money magic spell this lunar cycle. Nice. You can redo that as often as you want. And like I said, for me, whenever I do that spell, it takes about 2 months to really hit. So generally, about 2 months after, I put in a big spell like that. And when I say a big spell, you guys, I mean one that takes attention every single day versus one where you do it once and then set it loose. So, second time doing it. Nice, Aurora. Lovely. So with moon manifestation, with moon work, it's very similar to doing regular manifestation work. The way that you do manifestation work, that is Lily chewing back there, by the way, if you guys can hear that, she's eating. Anyway, is you focus on something, you get your energy spinning so that you're feeding it, because as you probably already know, and if you don't, then as you're about to know, when you're manifesting something, the mind is like setting the GPS. So setting your intentions, picturing what you want, getting really specific as is authentic to you about what you want and why you want it, and mostly the feelings. And then the emotions are the gas. So setting your mind is saying where you're gonna go. The emotions are how you get there. So you make the emotions really strong, you swirl them around you, you get them going, and then you set them loose so that they can go out and do the work for you. And this world has always used this energy. I hear some people saying things like especially in the media, things like magic always comes with a price. I don't believe that to be true, honestly, not if you do magic that works for the harmonious benefit of the whole, of everyone, because magic is always happening. Magic is how the non-physical informs the physical, how the non-physical world makes the physical world, and that's always happening, and we're meant to use it. So I don't believe that using that means that then you have to lose energy in some other place. That's just never been true in my experience. So, how to do a moon ritual. I learned in the Celtic tradition, so that was the first shamanism that I studied because it really felt strong in my body and soul. So the way that I do moon ritual, some of it, I'm going to tell you every single thing because some of it's private, like any spiritual thing. Hang on a sec. What did Polly Sold say? Magic is sentient to me. All spell work is just a conversation and collaboration. Ooh, interesting idea about magic itself being sentient. I could see that. I mean, I'm not going to say no. For me, magic feels more like an element than like an anthropomorphized being. It doesn't really feel to me that magic generally has a personality itself. It's more like something to wield in my experience. Hi, Reiki Woo. So lovely to see you. But everybody is different. So back to the moon ritual. So what you do is you declare you're in a sacred space. You can cast a circle if you wish. You can just say, I'm in a sacred space. This is what I'm doing right now. It's good to state it, whether it be out loud or in your mind, whatever you want. And then greet the elements. And you can do this different ways. I do it the Celtic way, which is east is air, south is fire, west is water, and north is earth. But Native American traditions do it a different way. African traditions do it a different way. It just depends on what you like and what you feel resonant with. Full moon will be in Leo. How can we use this energy? So I'm not an astrologer, Dion. I don't know astrology enough to give advice on it. what I go by is the names of the moons, which were created by the Native Americans. And this moon is the wolf moon. And so I see it a couple ways. Last year during the wolf moon, I was very solitary and it was like the lone wolf vibe. This year during the wolf moon, I've been in packs. So I've been around people. So it's been very pack vibe, which is another reason why I'm doing this today. I'm doing this and I'm going to record a podcast and I'm going to do a clubhouse chat because it feels like now's the time to unite and do stuff together. But with any full moon, the way that I believe in using it is scooping up the energy around you mentally, using your mind's eye to picture this. Imagining that the full moon energy is like these ribbons of silvery light swirling through the world, swirling through the air, swirling through the earth, the waters, and it's like their raw energy and you're using it to weave things. So think about Haimia. So think about whatever it is you want. Think about what it will be like, and also get really in touch with your authenticity. Don't just randomly do stuff or do it because you think you should want it. Wait until it's something that you really want, because that's going to make the energy flow better. And if you don't know, then there's no reason to put forth the effort. It's okay to not know for a while, because inevitably your desires and what you're being called to will come up. So get into your sacred space. If you want to greet the elements, if you want to call in your angels, ancestors, your unseen spirit team, I definitely recommend calling in your unseen spirit team, whatever it is you believe in. I mean, we all have ancestors, so that's a kind of a no-brainer to call on your ancestors. And then whatever deities, whatever overarching consciousnesses you believe in, whatever speaks to your heart and soul, call them in. Call it in, whoever it is, whatever type of deities you believe in. And if you're more of a agnostic or atheist vibe, you can just call on the consciousness of the all, the superstring theory vibe or the universal field. Because if we're conscious, then since we're in a fractal reality, it has to be conscious. It's just logical to assume that the whole thing is conscious, because we couldn't exist as conscious beings inside of it if it weren't conscious as well. Okay, so you decide you're in a sacred space. If you want to cast a circle, the way that you can do that is open up your palm chakras by rubbing your hands together. Then with your dominant hand, send a circle out all around you and around everywhere you're going to go during this ritual time. And imagine that a line of energy is coming out and drawing a circle around you, creates a dome above you and a dome below you. And I've seen really amazing things happen with circles. I've seen weather be different inside and out of circles. I've seen animals treat the edge of circles differently. So this is something that is very real, even though it's not real to your visible eye in an obvious way. So cast that circle. And by the way, at the end of the ritual, the last thing that you do is take your non-dominant hand and go counterclockwise. You cast the circle clockwise, go counterclockwise, and bring it back into yourself, because it's your energy. So just leave it there. So anyway, decide that you're going to be in a sacred space. Casting a circle is a witchy way to do it. You don't have to do that. You can just say, okay, I'm here, and do a little prayer, whatever it is you believe in, like I said. Because here's the thing. There are so many ways to do this. Different cultures the world over all had access to the same information, and they just did it in different ways. So that means that you can do it however feels right to you. Just make sure you're giving honor in your mind and your heart, and thanks to wherever these traditions come from. And if you want to make your own up, then yes, absolutely make yours up. Absolutely. That's the best way in my mind, is to take some stuff that you've heard of that sounds like you want to do it, and then also infuse it with your unique vibe. Okay, so you cast your circle, or you say you're in a sacred space. You call on the elements and the directions to just gather in the consciousness of the world you're in, because the whole point is to make something into this world. We don't pop up out of our physical bodies to do this. We bring the energy from the non-physical into the physical. And JB Wells, you're roasting, and I'm going to ignore that comment, friend. You're lucky that I know you from growing up. Anyways, so then you call in whatever you believe in, whatever God you believe in, whatever spirits you believe in, and set your intention to do this work for the benefit of everyone that anything about you touches, that any part of what you do touches. And then the first thing to do once you actually get into it, the first thing to do when you're doing healing, the first thing to do when you're doing any kind of magical stuff is call down your higher self. I know, Wells, thank you. Is to call down your higher self and to say, okay, work through me, because you can see more than I can, the higher self version of you. It's not the one going through the game, it's the one operating you in the game from above. So say, okay, help me make decisions, interact with the higher selves of everyone who is involved in what I'm doing, and please help it all go smoothly. Please help it be something that benefits the all. So then, after you've done that, after you've created your sacred space, you've called in the directions in the elements, you've called in whatever it is that you believe in as far as helpful unseen energies go, and you've called down your own higher self. Then you take a minute and observe your world. Think about it. Think about the things that you're grateful for. Think about the things that maybe you would want to shed. Be aware of it. For the full moon, you can do both. For the full moon, you can use the moon energy to construct something. And also, if you want to start a longer spell of getting rid of something, then you started at the full moon and the energy is decreasing until the new moon when it finally flushes out. So that means if you want to break it super simplistic, full moon is for manifesting, new moon is for shedding, graduating from, evolving out of. But if you want to stretch it out, then you start at the new moon with creating something and it grows to the full moon. And then at the full moon, you see what you got, you look around at what you got, and it will always take refinement because that's life. And then refining out what you want goes back down to the new moon. Then at the new moon, it's gone, you start again, creating again to the full moon. And then, of course, the quarter moons are halfway in between. So you've got full new crescent moon going up to new gibbous moon. Then we're at the full moon, which is now. And then that you've got the waning gibbous moon, takes you to the last quarter moon. Then the waning crescent moon takes you down to the full moon. You know, it's waxing. It goes from right to left, reverse of reading, at least English language reading. So when you've got the crescent on the right side, that means the moon is growing. Then you've got that half moon, then the gibbous moon, then the full moon. And then, I can't make my hand go that way, but as the moon's leaving, then it's going to be on the left side, look like a letter C. Happy wolf moon, you guys. So then then you look around and see what's going on in your life. And it's really important when you do this to be very clear with your view, to try not to wear rose-colored glasses, to try not to be overly pessimistic either. Just look very accurately as you can, around at what's going on in your life and say, okay, what is it that I like? What is it that I don't like? What would I like to build? What would I like to shed? Etc. And then you do that. So you can do it just in your mind. You can do it using things like herbs or crystals or candles that represent what you want. This is stuff that you would do your own research for or make it up. So many magical people knew how to do this stuff as a little kid. They would do all this kind of thing as a kid. But then when you grow up, you kind of often lose it if it's not around you anyway. So then you can write your affirmation list, or you can make a picture of what you want, or a collage, or you can combine some herbs together that represent what you want and put them in a little sachet packet that you smell from time to time. I've done that before. It works really well. I've done it for me and for others before. Or you make a jar, look up a witch's jar if you want to see what that is. Basically, whatever the work that you're doing, the intentions that you set, do that next. That's the mix of it. That's the main thing. So you write the list, or you draw the picture, or you make the collage, or whatever it is that you're doing. You combine the herbs, whatever it is you're doing. And then when it's all combined, when it's all done, you sit for a minute. And, that's my legs up the wall timer. And you think about it. And this is when you do the manifestation work, and you create it very real in your mind. And you feel that energy swirling around you. Use it to weave it together to what you want, and then you build up your emotions so that you're feeling exactly as much as you can how you will when that thing is true, to kind of give the universe something to track. Say, this is the result that I want. You know, you're making your blueprint here. It's also called morphogenetic fields, when you make something that you want matter to stick to, and you get it as strong as you can, and then almost like orgasmic vibes, although we're not talking sexual energy here, we're talking manifestation energy, but it's similar as how you build and build and build, and then you let it go. And the visualization I use with that is that it's going out in a ring of energy all around me. that expands and just goes out into as far as it'll go. And then as the time comes back, it will get reflected back to you from your physical world. So then you say thank you. And if you want to pull cards, if you want to do any kind of divination work, I like to do that after I've set my intention. So then those cards can tell me where the intention is going, how it's going to come, what's going to happen with it. And so when I do set my intention, I'm clear. So you then do whatever divination you want, make whatever notes you want, that kind of thing. And then at the end, you do the reverse. You thank your higher self, you thank whatever guides you called in, divine feminine, divine masculine, great overarching God, angels you work with, spirits you work with, what elementals, whatever that you believe. And then you thank the directions for coming. And then you take your non-dominant hand and bring that circle back in. Or you just say another prayer. If you're not into the circle casting, you say another prayer and say, I'm grateful to have had this time, praying to whatever deities that you believe in, whichever ones you work with, whichever ones are in your lineage, either of body or soul, and that you feel at home with. And you say thank you. And then you clean up your ritual stuff, unless you're specifically doing a spell that takes time that you need to kind of set up, like the money spell that we talked about earlier that has kind of a setup that it does for 9 days. But if not, if it's something that you can clean it up. Don't leave your ritual stuff laying around because it muddies up the energy a little bit. And then move on about thine life, darling. And that's how you do a moon ritual. So what questions do you guys have? Let's see. Or comments. I'll stay on for another minute. Polysold, I like the multi-purpose use of the word orgasmic. I agree. I do. All right, well, I hope everyone's doing well. Hey, Dea. And what is coming up? Let's see. Well, I'm going to be recording a new podcast soon about moon magic. So if you guys have any questions, look at my stories. And I asked if you had anything you wanted me to focus on for a moon magic podcast. And if so, let me know. And what else? Right now I'm in Buckeye, Arizona. Where did you begin your Celtic magic studies? I began from researching and reading a lot and experimenting a lot. Most of my magic stuff is self-taught because I don't necessarily trust people, honestly. I mean, sometimes I've had teachers. I had, of course, my delightful Reiki teachers over time. And a lot of the magic that I've learned has come from experimentation and also working with people that I trusted, but they weren't necessarily in teacher role. We were all figuring things out. We all had pieces that we knew, and we would exchange them with each other, and then we would all get these downloads. Y'all know when you got witchy friends and you have something crazy happen, you call each other up, like, what do you think? What do you think? Or you have healer friends and you kind of work on each other. That's how mine has worked, but I've been doing it long enough that there are certain things that I'm confident in. There's also stuff that I'm not confident in, and I don't really tell y'all anything about that because I'm not going to give advice when I'm not sure how something works, and there's plenty of that is true for. Okay, Aurora. Oh, if you want an awesome book on Celtic shamanism, and this is not, there's a book called Celtic Magic by DJ Conway that is a great intro, and it's just like a reference book. It's great if you're into Celtic specifically, but if you want a really great Celtic shamanism journey, try the book By Oak, Ash, and Thorn. It's amazing. By Oak, Ash, and Thorn. It has an artist's rendition of a shaman on the cover. It's very good. Aurora, you've been liking the podcast. I'm so glad. I've liked making it for you. I actually have my mic over there, and I just ordered in on my travels some new accessories to go with the mic to make the sound better, to smooth out the consonants, because I know that the way that I listen to it is they're a little bit harsh on the ear. So I got some things, but as you can hear, I don't know if you guys can hear that, there are military planes that fly over this neighborhood. So I'm gonna hope that when I record the podcast that doesn't happen. In LA, I do it in the middle of the night because every other time there's city noise. But out here, I was gonna do it during the day. We'll see. We'll see. Polysold, where do we find your podcast again? They're on all the podcast platforms. It's called Stars and Spirits by me, Karis Melina Brown. You can find it on, what's the main one? Spotify, on Google Podcasts, on, oh gosh, there's some other ones. Look in my feed and it has it listed where you can find it. I just do it on one app. I use Anchor and it publishes it to all the places for me. Thank goodness for technology. So yeah, but I would guess Spotify's the most common one. It's called Stars and Spirits. Dea. Magic is essentially creativity. It's probably also remembering from other lives, which is so individual. Yeah, creativity is definitely very much related to magic. So is imagination. I mean, think of the word imagination, much like magic, you know? And it's something that is our birthright to do. As humans, we're supposed to use it. And the fact that it's been so... gosh, I'm trying to think of the right phrase to use here, but I'm just gonna say suppressed by traditions goes to show how far away people have gotten from what we're really supposed to be doing here. And I said this in the video I recorded after the goddess retreat, but we did a breathwork ceremony there, and it was amazing. One of the goddesses is a breathwork teacher, so she led us through a breathwork ceremony, and at one point she called in the ancestors, and I felt mine come in, and the message that they gave me was how long it's been since anyone could practice magic openly, like actually openly, not calling it something else or suppressing all of it except for the one part that's useful and okay with the culture that you're in, which is what my near relatives did. They suppressed all of it except for like the family empathy, or all of it except for one little bit here or there that was considered acceptable for where they were. And I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna do all of it that feels right to me. And I'm definitely a believer in what you send out returns. So I only work with energies that are beneficial to everyone, because I like to also love my future self, and I'm not going to send stuff out that's going to come back to bite me in a bad way. I'm going to send stuff out that's going to come back and bless me. So that's what I believe. I know everybody doesn't believe that, and that's okay, but I'm very grateful to live in a world where we don't get hung, hunted, or burned for being witches. And when I say the word witch, I mean a person who deliberately uses magic, who uses their mind and their emotions and their energy to affect the world that they live in for themselves and others. Yeah. And yes, if you can remember stuff from your other lives, do it. It's worth it. Oh, hi, Kelly. Stargate events, opening up a circle, portal, I walked 3 circles, clockwise, then 3 circles, counterclockwise. Being a gatekeeper, I was guided to do this. It works when we ground ourselves. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Actually walking it is fine. It also depends on how big it is, though, because a lot of times for me, especially when I'm traveling, I'll do my ritual in just a space large enough for me to sit in. So walking it would be a little weird because it would be basically spinning a circle, but it's fine. And that if you're doing a larger circle, for instance, if I'm doing a circle for a few people doing a ritual, it makes sense that I'll walk it and also use the energy from my hand. But I'm a big fan of hand energy, y'all know this. So it just depends on what works for you. But yeah, that works, definitely. Hi from Finland. Hi, Finland. Mia, any tips you can give for incorporating full moon energy into starting a new business? Yeah. Okay, so make some moon water. That's another huge thing. Make some moon water. Y'all put out water tonight in a glass jar where the moonlight can hit it. And then in the morning, quick grab it and stick it in the fridge or put it somewhere and then take a sip of it every day. For starting a new business, I would put your intentions about how all the ways that the business can thrive, leaving it open-ended enough for the universe to surprise you, but keeping the heart of it on a piece of paper, fold it up, put it under the jar so it infuses the water in the jar with that energy. And then take a sip of it every day as you reaffirm the things that you want. Also charging up crystals to put in the shop. Great one is citrine. That brings abundance and it clears blockages. So charging that one up. And citrine you can charge in the sun and the moon. It's my opinion that you can charge citrine in the sun and the moon. It works great both. So yeah, keeping a piece of citrine around. And yeah, basically all the things I said, but with the intention of how your business is going to run. and call in guides to help you with that. Call in guides for money, call in guides for business, call in guides for whatever your craft is, whatever your business is. Call in guides to assist you with that. You know, there's nothing new under the sun. There's always been people doing stuff. There are energies that will help you for sure. Mage, nice gender neutral label for those who practice. Sure, yeah, mage, absolutely. Yeah, and mage is a good one that I don't feel like has a ton of charge on it. You know, you say the word witch. The last time I looked up the word witch in the encyclopedia, it basically said a mean person who casts curses. And I was like, none of the witches I know do that. And if I know a witch that does that, I very promptly don't know them anymore. I sure enough do cut people out right away who do dark magic, because I'm like, that comes back around. I don't want to be in your sphere. Discernment. Sorry, not sorry, you know. Hidden and suppressed grassroots, yeah. Folk magic and syncretism? Do you mean synchronicity? Syncretism. I don't know what that is. Cool. Mitch, I forget about the moon sometimes. Thank you for reminding me it's a full moon. I'm going to work with this one and on. Nice. Welcome back. Yeah, you know, setting intention is so great, and the thing about working with the moon is it keeps you on a schedule, because battery's low, because it reminds you every so often what's going on in my life. Let me look around and see. So if you're someone who does like using conscious manifestation or the law of attraction, it's very easy to go into moon work, because it just makes sense. The two just go together, you know. Oops, sorry. And it's important for people, and I would love it if more masculines would learn how to use magic. I love it when a masculine knows how to use magic. Their energy is different than the feminine. It works in a different way. And I think it's really cool, and I think it's really fun to see how it comes about for them too. It's different and interesting to me. Oh, thanks, Mia. I'm so glad that you found it helpful. Syncretic, paths of older magic merging into dominant paths, like saints, merges, orishas, that type of theological phenomena. Cool. Yeah, I think of that. It reminds me of the concept I have of going archetypal, how some souls, when they die, don't get born back into a body again. Their first person perspective probably does something completely different, but the earth version of them becomes an ingredient for you to choose from when you decide to come into the physical plane. People who've lived in a human form and then gone archetypal. So that's kind of related. It reminds me of that phrase. Aurora, I wonder about the rule of three, which is very Wiccan in tradition, I think, and then other cultures that have zero qualms about dark magic. Well, you know, here's the thing. It always comes back around, in this life or another. In the podcast about past lives, I mentioned how in this life, I know from my experience, I have gifts and talents that I remember forming through hard work in other lives, that I'm still benefiting from randomly, seemingly, in this life. And stuff follows us. Wearing different bodies is like putting on clothes. You take the clothes off one day, you put them on the next day, different clothes, whatever, same body, same soul, different bodies, is how I think of that. So when you talk about a concept like, and the rule of three, I just say stuff comes back around because I think sometimes it's much more than three. You know, I don't like to put numbers on stuff to say exactly how things are going to happen, because I'm a more emotionally based person. But yeah, the way I think about it is it just comes back around. Also, because if you're going to send it out, you have to bring it through yourself to send out. So you're imbuing yourself with the energy that you're sending. So whatever it is, you're going to embody it, which is why when you want to learn something from someone, look and see what they're embodying. Not just what they're saying, but look at their glow, look at their eyes, hear for their integrity, listen to the resonance of their voice. Let yourself be full spectrum aware of what's coming into your field. Okay, let's see. Tantafen, I want to learn more about magic and energies. I'm an energy healer. Awesome. There's so many resources, books, documentaries, teachers, people, and now internet. You can find anything. But like I said, use your discernment. Make sure that you're learning from people that you trust. Because just because someone knows how to do this stuff doesn't mean they necessarily have integrity. So be aware and listen to your heart, gut, mind. Polysold, it coming back around is basic Newtonian science when you think about it. I agree. I do. Aurora, I'm glad it made sense to you. Tales of the Heart, would love more information about white magic versus dark magic and how to discern. The way that I think about it, and I don't really say white magic or black magic, just because, I mean, of obvious reasons. I don't really think about it that way. The way that I do it is that I intend that what I create goes out and is a beneficial force from the jump, through and through, fully integrous to the center of it, for me and for everyone. I believe that there's all kinds of equations in this world and in this universe. And so the ones that I choose are the triple win, where I win, where the other person wins, and where the greater reality wins. And if that's not there, I don't do it. Period. I don't care. I don't care who it is that I'm going into a contract with or whatever. I do not move unless it's the triple win. And what you are saying is dark magic is people, I think, and intentions that are cool with things like taking energy from one thing and send it towards something else. And I'm not talking about, I mean, there's ways you can do that. That's okay. Like, for instance, you have some roses on your altar in your house. They're starting to go. They're starting to die. So you take them off and use the petals to create something, and then put them in a sachet and use that. That's okay. That I think is okay. The roses are dying anyway. The energy is there for you anyway. They're your roses. But then you have things like blood magic, where people like, and that's like, basically all traditions can go dark and use this. So I'm not going to call out any specific magical tradition, because they can all do stuff like this, and they have all done stuff like this. But it's like where you would take the life of an animal or a person, or you would take a body of something that it was not yours to take and use it. Use the energy in it. Take the energy from it to use. The most fucked up thing about that, in my opinion, is that you don't need to. We all have a star of source energy inside us. You don't need to take energy from something to put it somewhere else. You can just use yours. You can just use that magical force that makes your heart beat every second of every day of every life. That's yours to use. You're supposed to use it. And so when people even consider doing it the other way, I already know, you should already know that something's off. That means that there's some connection that they're missing. So don't trust it. Don't trust it. Okay. Wins, yeah. Aurora, I would love to know if you have any opinions on blood magic that uses your own personal blood, particularly menstrual blood, for manifestation. I'm a full thumbs up for that, for both of them. Like I said, using your own energy, yes, and menstrual blood is extremely magical. It's the only blood that we ever bleed that is fully voluntarily bled, and it also has tons of hormones and stuff in it that create life. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Do a search on it. A lot of people have really good ideas for what to do with it, but I think it's a yes, and I think it's a hugely under-tapped resource that we're not really taught how to use very well at all. We're taught that it's something, we're not even taught that it's magical. So yes, I do believe that it's magical. I believe that it can be used for a lot of things. So yeah. Polysold. All right, here we go. Here's some opinions on dark magic. Dark is about an intent to harm, because death and/or blood magic in of itself are not dark concepts. Some born with the parts often use Menses blood as a fertility spell. Yeah, I just talked about that. And working with death can be a powerful impermanence meditation and such. I don't know where you're coming from exactly, but I'm gonna say I'm not a fan of causing death. Now, there's the idea of the harvest of like your own crops, like when you grow tomatoes and you go pick the tomatoes. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about taking a life that is not yours. Basically, any life other than yours is not yours to take. That's what I believe. And 100% that's what I believe. Now, if you, for instance, came across an animal that had been hit, or I've found like bones and antlers and stuff before, just laying there in the forest, that I've used as a totem, as something to represent. But in my mind, that's very different than going out and taking a life. I think that's the height of irresponsibility. I think it's the height of conceit, thinking that any life other than ours is ours to decide. My opinion, but I'm not going to change it. So y'all can have different opinions, but that's mine. And I feel very firmly about that. All right. How can the masculine connect better to the moon and its energy? Great question, Mitch. These ways. Most practitioners that I come across of magic like this are women. I have theories on why that is, but there are also plenty of men who do it. And so really just all this stuff that I just said, except the moon blood, because, men don't get their periods, as far as I know. But, at least not physically. Definitely happens emotionally. But, yeah, just do all the stuff that happened, and I'll publish this so you can go back and watch it and get all the steps. But, yeah, same thing. One of the great authors of Celtic kind of Wiccan literature was Scott Cunningham. He was a man. He's passed away now, I believe. But yeah, he wrote a bunch of really informative books on how to use sacred Celtic Wiccan vibes. Yeah, okay, what else? No, not causing death. That's intent to harm. Like natural death. Apologies if that was confusing on my end or anything. Vulture culture things. It's more what I mean. Okay, I can see that. Yeah. Hey, Amy, nice to see you. Daily Tarot, all the rituals really necessary. Wouldn't it be better just to flow with the natural movements of life? Both. It's kind of like saying, do you need to cook? You can just eat food as it comes from the plants. True, you can. You can eat fruit that way, you can eat vegetables that way, absolutely. But sometimes it's fun to put together a meal. Or it's like saying, do you ever need to put forth effort in your friendships and relationships? Shouldn't you just let it flow? Yes, and it's fun to plan surprises for people. It's fun to check in on folks and see how they're doing. It's fun to put forth effort to cultivate things. That's how I see it. Or is it better to plant a garden or just let things grow wildly outside? Well, you can let stuff grow wildly, but if you want to have specific things that you want to eat or specific herbs you want to use or whatever, then you have to do the work to plant it. So that's what I see. And also, it's whatever's calling you. If you don't feel like doing it, don't do it. This is a craft that you choose whether or not you hone. All right, I've got 10% battery left. I'm going to answer this last question, then we'll go. Do you have any thoughts on transgender variant practitioners? Because we exist. Absolutely. Yeah, you guys and girls and everything in between. Absolutely. Whatever you want to do, whoever you want to be, it's all great. Do whatever works for you. All I can speak about is my experience. But yeah, absolutely. I'm a fan of all the practitioners so long as you want the benefit of the whole. That's what I care about, not what gender or what identification on what day. I believe that being gender fluid, do whatever you want, be however you want. I believe love whoever you want. Love is such a precious and rare commodity and resource that we should honor it and cultivate it, respect it, and value it wherever it comes. And anyone who thinks anything else can just go out the door from where I'm concerned, because I do not care. That's how I feel. Okay, on that note, I'll let you guys go. Have a beautiful day. Let's give you a Reiki pop. Setting the intention that you get exactly what you need on this full moon. Setting the intention that the universe carry you in a way that feels great to you, and that you be shown in very clear, present ways that you deserve the best, and that the best is coming to you and is already yours. Love you guys. Have a great day. Things coming up are, I'm going to do a new altar building class. I'm redoing the altar building class. Well, I'm re-releasing it in March. It's coming from the archives. And then Meeting the Fairies class is coming in April. I'm also doing the Moon Tides class in April, May, and June. It's from April 10th to July 10th, and that one you'll have to DM me about if you want in. Also, I'm kind of planning a healer goddess retreat for this fall. Ooh, everyone gets Reiki certified. Ooh, it's going to be really fun. All right, love you guys. Have a beautiful rest of your day.